the peas that we planted together a couple of months ago. It's all coming up really well. Here is our elephant garlic. That's also coming up really well. Now it all needs a bit of a feed today, so that's what I hope to be doing. One of the chores anyway. Now over here, also another chore is planting out some of these. I've got 4 of the best of the pak choi and 4 of the best of the lettuces, so that I can start having salads fairly soon. Get back into eating my own fresh grown produce. Over here, here's our other peas that are growing really well. This is that walking stick kale that I cut right back to a stick just a couple of months ago, and as you see, it's bounced back really well. And I've got a couple of poor old orange trees that still need to go out. I'm waiting on a couple of big pots being done, and I might just have to do it myself. Unfortunately, I'm waiting for a friend to cut those blue barrels in half, and it's been 12 months, so it looks like I might have to get them back and just do them myself. And if I cut my leg off, I cut my leg off. Anyway, so here's the peas, all growing quite well. They should be flowering fairly soon. I don't see any flowers happening just yet, but that's also the other elephant garlic that I put in. It's also doing quite well. And over here I think there's a little bit of elephant garlic and there's a bit of normal garlic mixed in. And there's the self-seeded parsnips that we harvested the seeds together when I cleaned down the archway from the tomatoes. Here's that other poor orange tree. It's a bit chewed and mottly, but it's still alright. When it goes in the pot, it'll go quite well. And down here I have some self-sown calendula. This one is really nice. It's an orange type of calendula. Now, I'll take you over to our potatoes, or some of them anyway, if I can get this rotten trolley going. Okay, so here are some of my buckets of potatoes, and yes, I need to add some more compost in there. There's a couple there that failed, so I'll replant them as soon as I get a potato to put in there. And in here is my old potato patch, and as you see, there's still quite a few potatoes in there. I never really got to harvest it last year, so it's probably more weeds than there is potatoes. I'm trying to downsize my garden a little bit into more containers because I'm getting old and more disabled, So I'm just trying to make things a bit more easier, but still be able to grow my own produce. Well, would you look at that? My mulberry tree has already started to produce fruit. I never even got to prune it this year. And would you look at the mulberries already on there? It's going to be loaded. I've still got a heap of mulberries in the freezer from last year and a heap in the pantry. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I think there'll be a lot of gifts this year. Well, the snow peas on this archway are very spasmodic, but fortunately I sort of don't need that many this year. So I think what I get out of this lot will certainly be enough to keep me happy, and pop a few in the freezer for stir fries and whatnot throughout the next winter. Could be better considering the amount of peas that I planted, or seeds, but I think those little blackbirds and the snails or slugs had a lot to do with it. Anyway, so here is the spinach that we planted together. It's doing okay. So I've got my little spinach sign so I know what I've got planted here. And this is the leafless pea. Well, it's not completely leafless, but let's see if I can get it to go up this wire. It's mostly all those tendril things. So there wasn't a huge amount of peas, so I'm glad to see there's a couple there. And that's me red leaf sorrel coming back. That's doing quite well. And I've also got, well, supposed to have some spinach in here too. But I think the birds are getting into that, the little hooers. And that is a weed, so it can come out and go into the chooks. Right, so that's coming along quite well as well. Good to see. And here is the silver beet that we planted. Now it's doing quite well. This here is a little bit of garlic I sort of left there. Elephant garlic. I've left that there. I think this is the maybe the 3rd year. So we'll see how it goes. And over here is the other peas that we planted. I think they're being choked out a little bit, so they need some of this mulch pulling back a little bit. I think it's just drowning them out. I can put the mulch in other areas, so I'll do that this afternoon. That'll give it somewhere to grow. This is where I plan on putting my pak choy and lettuces. It's a good spot for it. Okay, so here we are. I've pulled out a lot of that old leaf matter, spread it round the garden. So we'll first of all go with our pak choy. I'll just place it out where I think is a good spot. I think 4 for this bed should be plenty. I don't want it in the way of the peas, so I'll keep well back from there. There we go. That's that. Now for our lettuce. So that can be a little closer together. One in the middle each there. And 2 for in here. I don't want to overcrowd the bed, so that will be plenty. Get some of these out of the way. Right. Now I'll just pull away a lot of this mulch. And we'll dig a little hole. We'll put in the pak choy. And backfill. There we go. Now, I'll put one of these around it, and that just helps to stop the snails and so forth getting into it and eating it away before I get a chance. Now we'll backfill with a bit of the mulch. Keep that moisture in there. There we go. One down. Now, we'll start on this one. Pull away the mulch. The ground's pretty wet, so which is good to see. Some nice worms in here. which is also good to see. Some good root systems. There we go, done. I'll bring you back when they're all done. I want you to see the worm activity in these no-dig beds. They're wicking beds. Now this has been left fallow pretty much all winter. Look, there's a worm. There's a worm. There's another worm. And that's just right on the very top. I haven't even dug into it yet. So let's dig in a little ways. There's another nice big worm. There's another little one. There's another one. Okay. It's a nice little lettuce seedling with all the roots. Look at that crumbly soil. It's absolutely beautiful. Now these beds, they're only 12 months old. So to get this sort of activity out of them, in you go fella, is just incredible. These beds work so well. Tuck that mulch in up under there. That'll keep the little fella nice and warm and keep the snails away from him. Right, sorry about the wire. Okay, so we'll pull back the mulch a little bit. There's some nice little worms in there. Nice little fellas in there. There we go. Some good root systems in that one. This is all stuff I grew from seed earlier. Look how crumbly that soil is. It's just beautiful. Tuck him in. And there we go, that's those all done. All to do now is water them in. Now I've got some rainwater here. Was actually rainwater that was in my potting mixture, so it drowned out my potting mix a bit, but it'll do. I'll water the little guys in. And they'll be right till picking. If you're wondering what that was, it's just cocoa koi. Here's another nice big fat worm. Get in there, little fella. And there we go. There's one bed all done. Ready to move on to the next. Right, so here I have last year's carrot bed and whatever was left of last year. Now, if anyone wants to know, what does a carrot flower look like? That's what you call an umbral. This is exceptionally good for your hoverflies, your ladybirds. These are young ones coming out. So this one I'm actually going to leave here specifically for the pollinators and the good bugs basically. So that one is staying. The rest I'm going to pull up or harvest whatever's here. Getting a bit old now, so it needs to be redone. They didn't do all that well in here last year. The year before I think I got a reasonable harvest, but last year they were a bit poor. I think it's because I didn't get out here and water or feed like I should have, mainly because I wasn't all that well last year. So, but I'm feeling much better this year, so hopefully I will have a much better crop. So we'll just pull out the few weeds that are in here. They can go to the chooks. And I'll pull out these ones as well. Okay. So we'll give it a bit of a dig around, loosen up the soil. Now this is where I should actually go in and harvest some of the compost that I've got in the chook pen. But not today. It's a bit too muddy in there at the moment. And see how this is nice and loose? A lot of sand and vermiculite and that in here. There's nowhere for the roots to sort of divide. Okay, so what I have here, it's just one of those spike things that you stick on a water bottle. I'm just going to use it to skewer the soil. And I'm going to use this grating as a spacer. And And normally I would be able to stick it over the top, but because I'm keeping this carrot for seed, I can't do that. But anyway, we'll get around it. So all I do is push it right in, give it a twirl, push it in, make some nice deep holes. Now you don't need one of these. If you don't have one, you can just use a stick or an old piece of dowel. Just something that you can make a nice deep hole with. And carrots don't do well in nutrient-rich soil, but they do like a little fertiliser. So what I'm going to do is put a few little phosphorus pellets in the bottom of these holes, and then I'm going to top up with propagating sand so that the roots have to actually go searching for the nutrients, and that's what will make the carrot go down nice and deep. Okay. So I just have the Organics phosphorus. It's a root health booster. And it looks like mouse pellets. So all I do is pop a few of these into each of the holes. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now when I'm finished here, I will actually also go and give my potatoes a nice little feed. I'll be wanting this as well. Okay, I'll do the other bed the same and come back to you. Right, so in this one here, I'm going to be planting out some multicoloured carrot or rainbow or harlequin, whatever they like to call it. I'll be planting 2, maybe 3 seeds per hole. So what I will do is fill up the holes with sand. This is just propagating sand. Makes a nice loose area for them so that they've got the carrot itself has got no obstructions. Otherwise they can tend to fork. If they've got anything in their way, they'll fork. Looks like we might get some rain tonight. This sand will actually help in keeping the carrot seed wet too, because if they dry out at all, the carrot seed will not germinate. Okay, so now I'll just go through and put a divot in. I just use my finger. No need for fancy tools. There we go. Looks like the sand has got hives. Just spread them out on your hand. They're very, very small, so that you can pick up 3 at a time. Put them in the hole. Later on I'll come through and I'll just keep the strongest one. And the rest will be snipped out. Well, here we go. And here we are, the last of the carrots of the season, all cleaned up and ready to do something with. Now a lot of these, yes, you can eat them and whatnot, but I have a huge big bag of stock bones in the freezer that needs to have something done with it. So I will probably wander around the garden and pick some celery and onions and these carrots and possibly some turnips, and they will go into the stock. So rather than use the power in the freezers and the room, I will put them in jars on the pantry shelves. Well, g'day guys. I'm sorry about that second last clip, but I wanted to show you the end of the beds after I'd finished planting. Unfortunately, my camera ran out of battery, so it just stopped recording. And it takes a good 24 hours to recharge it up again. So I brought the carrots inside and washed them up and cleaned them all up ready for the fridge, and just decided to take a picture of them with another camera that I have and just show you the finished product and what I plan on doing with those carrots. They're not exactly like supermarket quality or anything like that, but they'll be very tasty in the stock pot when I make it. So that's the end of this video. I hope you liked all the little wander around and a few garden jobs, and I'll bring you along again very soon for another follow-up on those vegetables that I've planted out, because I do plan on planting up the other wicking beds now that the weather's starting to warm up. Anyway, so that's the end of this video, and if you like what you see, please think about giving me a thumbs up and please subscribe. All right, thank you.